introduction, I really would like now to ask Miia to join me. She's my favorite colleague because she is in fact understanding my different backgrounds, my food background and my medical background, which I really believe have to come together in order to achieve getting older and having a healthy brain. So Miia, just to introduce you quickly, you're in fact professor for clinical geriatrics at the Center for Alzheimer Research at the Karolinska Institute and director of research theme aging at Karolinska University Hospital in Sweden. Your work is known around the world, and it's really started with a finger trial, which was a Finnish study, but it's now expanded to the world and will even go beyond what is done today and include actually pharmacological parameters. You wrote a book, and yes, it was with a pretext by the Queen of Sweden. It was really showing her support to your work. You will speak about the content of this book and come forward with some really practical tips what every one of us can do in order to prevent dementia. So I hand it over to you, Miia, and I think you want to show a few slides just to summarize what finger means, where finger stands, and what the future of finger is. Miia.
Thank you so much, Andrea, and thank you, Global BrainTrust. It's my great pleasure to be here today, and I totally agree. Prevention and risk reduction, these are the keys if we want to manage the global dementia epidemic, and there is so much we can do already today, and I'm very optimistic for the future that with joint forces we can do even more. So if we take the next slide, here we see the list of the modifiable risk factors which you mentioned, Andrea. This comes from the Lancet Commission paper. And here we see the list of 12 modifiable risk factors. When I started my research more than 25 years ago, we only had high age and genetic factors. It was quite fatalistic attitude. And now this list of modifiable risk factors has been growing year after year. And there are not only the vascular metabolic risk factors, which you can see here, of course, diabetes, high blood pressure, physical inactivity, but also some more novel risk factors like hearing loss, social isolation. There are protective factors, physical, mental, social activities, and you also see some risk factors like stress and sleep disturbances, which are quite common and increasing, especially among women. We may come back to that, but many new risk factors as well. If we take the next slide, I would say that the challenging part has been how to translate these epidemiological findings to successful clinical trials. It has been not so easy in our field, and this is actually true for both lifestyle interventions and pharmacological interventions. What we did in the finger trial, that was the first randomized controlled trial to really show that if you put together these different risk factors, it is possible to prevent cognitive decline and even improve the memory and different cognitive domains. But what is needed is really packaging all these factors. So it's actually like one hand and 5 fingers, and that's where the finger name comes, or the abbreviation. So it's healthy balanced diet, exercise, cognitive training, social activities, and taking care of all vascular and metabolic risk factors. So it's good to remember, activate all 5 fingers every day, increase the positive things, and try to decrease the negative factors. On the next slide, we see a bit more about the finger trial. We started it 2009, and we published the results 2015 in the Lancet. And it was really a randomized trial. So we compared the multi-domain intervention with the regular health advice. And we could see the clear benefits for cognition, but as you can see, also for many other important outcomes. 20% lower risk for stroke, 30% lower risk for functional decline, quite surprisingly, 60% lower risk of multimorbidity, better health-related quality of life, and even clear health economic benefits. So benefits for the brain health, total health on individual and on societal level. What we are doing now is we try to analyze more the underlying mechanisms so that we can tailor the interventions even more in the future and make new kind of discoveries. And we are almost done with the 11-year follow-up, so we will surely learn more from the finger as well. What is happening now is on the global scale. We can take the next slide. Is the worldwide fingers. So there was great interest from many countries after we published the finger to test and optimize and modify the finger in different settings. So we launched the Worldwide Fingers Network 2017 to support the different countries. And I'm very happy that today we are having more than 45 countries from all continents. And as you can see, there are 9 completed trials supporting the finger findings and 15 ongoing. Many are actually from low middle-income countries where the numbers are increasing even more rapidly. And what we are doing now is upgrading the finger to finger 2.0. And that's more personalized, more individualized interventions and combination with pharmacological interventions when needed. The precision prevention, giving the right treatment for the right persons at the right time. And another important thing here is the data harmonization and sharing so that we can get really strong evidence from different parts of the world. What is the best way to reduce the risk of dementia? I'm really happy for this global broad collaboration. I really think we can learn a lot in the close future. And my final slide is about the implementation. And that's what I think we should and we can do today with the joint forces. This is data and evidence what can be implemented and used already now. We can use the finger model, increase the awareness. And you see here how we are working today. We have just started the brain health clinic in Stockholm, connected to the memory clinic. We try to work at the primary care level to really find the risk individuals and work with the finger model, and at municipality level where we can move on and use these type of interventions. We also use new technology, the concept e-fingers that can make the interventions even more feasible and scalable. And at the end, we do have evidence to move on because we have been working with WHO with the first risk reduction guidelines. And I really think that is the strong basis to move on with the implementation activities. So again, I'm optimistic for the future, and all hands and all fingers are really needed for this work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miia, for this wonderful summary. So in addition to your scientific work, and I would like to emphasize the data which you have shown, 25% of cognitive improvement, global improvement, 60% reduction of chronic diseases, enormous impact potentially on the society. You, in addition, spent the time and wrote a book. And this book I'm showing now, I hope you can see it. And it's called Brain Health at Your Fingertips. And you could actually see the stickers because I studied the content. But what I wanted to ask, and I think what is extremely important for the audience tonight, based on this very solid scientific data with high statistical significance, published in some of the best papers, what is your advice to the audience? What are the sort of takeaways, the 5 most important takeaways from your scientific work, but also from the communication in your book? And maybe even transitioning to Steffi afterwards, how can we as a scientist contribute to making this knowledge available and actually help the public to live a better life and to have a healthier brain for longer time?
That's a good question. And this was also why we wrote this book, Brain Health at Your Fingertips, to really make the evidence-based knowledge more widely available. We have the Lancet publication and some nice scientific publications, but how to disseminate the knowledge so that people really know about that. And we know still that many people think that dementia is part of normal aging, and quite many people think that there is nothing we can do to really reduce the risk. And now we have been able to show that by activating the 5 fingers every day, you can do a lot. So my advice would be, try to think the 5 fingers. What can I do with the healthy diet, with physical activity? We are sitting so much, especially after the pandemic, the amount of time we are spending and sitting, and it has increased. So every step, every activity is good for the brain. Cognitive activity, what kind of things our brains can do, the lifelong learning, I think, is important. Social activities, and as part of that is the relaxation and stress management. So brain needs activity, but brain needs some rest and relaxation as well. And then finally, knowing all your values: high blood pressure, cholesterol, glucose, and the weight, knowing them early. So if you take care of all these 5 as early as possible, I normally say it's never too early to start to prevent dementia. Maybe we should start even earlier at the school age. So that would be my advice.
Thank you so much. Miia, we come back because, of course, one of my interests is how we can actually combine a healthy lifestyle with medication. And I know that your new interest goes into pharmacological intervention. We come back to that later in the conversation. So